From the Barclays First Division, Liverpool against Crystal Palace. Well, John Aldridge is on the verge of leaving Liverpool to join Real Sociedad in Spain, but he's named as a substitute tonight. As you'd expect, it's the same side which won 3-0 at Derby on Saturday. Indeed, the return of Gary Gillespie for the past 2 games in place of Barry Venison has been the only change in 4 First Division matches so far. Steve Coppell's Crystal Palace waiting to kick off, fresh from their first win at home to Wimbledon last Saturday. Only 5 of their side, Perry Suckling, David Burke, Andy Gray, Gary O'Reilly and Mark Bright, had played in Division 1 before this season. The number 10, Ian Wright, with 33 goals last season and 2 in his last 3 games, has been mentioned in the media as a possible Liverpool target to replace Aldridge. Bruce Grobbelaar defends the Cop end in the first half. The referee is Kieran Barrett from Coventry. Wright chasing on and trying to put some early pressure on Alan Hansen. It's Liverpool's first home game since the opening day of the season, and John Barnes is away here. But Pemberton matched him and then was a little unlucky with the ricochet. It clearly bounced off Barnes onto the Palace right back and behind for the corner. This fixture was postponed 2 weeks ago to allow Liverpool to accept an invitation to play Real Madrid in Spain. Beardsley with the corner. Back from Nicol. Steve Coppell, a Scouser himself, an admirer of Liverpool from an early age, has warned his players, really in his own words, that he can't do too much to tell them about what they might expect here at Anfield. He hopes it will be a learning experience and of course a successful one. Certainly in the second half at Derby, Liverpool played some brilliant football, and they'll want to pick up that vein quickly tonight. Ronnie Whelan. Gillespie at right back. Rush. At least Palace keeping Liverpool out of the penalty area at the moment, although Beardsley trying to change that past Pemberton, but not past the covering player, Eddie McGoldrick. Vital early moments for Crystal Palace. Beardsley varies the corner and was looking for McMahon. Wright, who's capable of springing forward on his own, and Hansen was aware of that. Crystal Palace might have felt they could have had a free kick in Ian Wright's favour, but the referee saw it otherwise. Steve McMahon, who played so well as deputy for Brian Robson in Sweden, reproduced his club form at international level. Barnes, Pemberton showing him the inside route, and it was blocked by Hopkins, rather fortunately for Crystal Palace. Nicol places it into the corner, and there was an air of inevitability about the opening goal as Liverpool continued to bear down on Crystal Palace. Hopkins blocked from Barnes, but Whelan with a delightful touch to the unmarked Nicol. 1-0 Liverpool, 7 minutes gone. And Steve Nicol, who was debited with an own goal 6 nights ago in Scotland's World Cup tie in Yugoslavia, reminds us again of what a good finisher he can be in the proper context. Beardsley. And there's a real appetite about Liverpool here. McMahon. Now right. Had Andy Gray to his left. Couldn't find him. I mentioned at the start that some Palace players do have First Division experience, but none of them too much of that, although Andy Gray played here twice last season, once for Aston Villa and once for Queen's Park Rangers. Perry Suckling played in Division 1 for Coventry and for Manchester City. Rush. Playing it in behind David Burke. It's Nicol. Being held up by Burke, who was born here in Liverpool, made his name with Bolton Wanderers initially. And Palace straining now not to buckle totally before the game really has had a chance to take shape from their point of view. And Hopkins clears it away. Rush. And Nicol applying the pressure again on Burke down that right-hand side. Beardsley. Burrows. Suckling, to his relief, can make a catch under no pressure. McMahon, after Whelan's header, touched off by Nicol. Liverpool, who just apply the basic passing principles of the game, and they're able to do that because their support work is so splendid. And knocking the ball around here at will. And McMahon is through the centre. Suckling repositioning, and McMahon in the end doesn't call upon the goalkeeper to make a save. And there's already an inquest going on in the Crystal Palace ranks as to how Steve McMahon, coming from midfield, was allowed to run forward unattended and onside. And he was able to shoot as well under no challenge at all. Beardsley. Nicol infield this time. Gillespie went outside Peter Beardsley. The centre-backs, O'Reilly and Hopkins at the moment, not getting much cover from the midfield line in front of them. But there's always a chance on the break with players like Wright. And Andy Gray can get forward well as well, and Mark Bright, of course, who's been Ian Wright's lieutenant so successfully. The two of them, 58 goals between them last season in all competitions. Well, the free kick goes in favour of Hussein, with Wright backing in. Palace have only played one away game since their return to the First Division. That was on the opening day. They lost 2-0 at Queen's Park Rangers. They're 1-0 down here, but they have a free kick. Alan Pardew and Andy Gray over the ball. The captain, Jeff Thomas, the number 8, is there as well. Another player brought up in the northwest. And it's hit the post from Thomas, very unlucky for Crystal Palace. Grobbelaar was beaten to his left. And a rasping, low free kick from Jeff Thomas, a whisker away from an equaliser. But Liverpool looking to celebrate the let-off with Barnes and Beardsley. They changed the angle, got it past the wall, past the goalkeeper, but not past the post. Hopkins with a hand-off on Barnes that smacked a little of desperation. Liverpool don't make the most of the free kick. Palace still hoping that Wright can spark the South London club. But certainly Thomas's free kick will have given Crystal Palace some belief that they have a right to be on the same stage as Liverpool. McMahon though is away here, rush inside him, McMahon chips Suckling brilliantly! 2-0, 16 minutes now. McMahon raiding from midfield again, and the most precise of lobs. Well, it could have been very different if Thomas's shot had had a better fate. Very few teams come back from conceding 2 goals early in a game to Liverpool at Anfield. It could be 3 here. Pemberton on Barnes, and that looked a penalty, but it hasn't been given. Nicol certainly thought the referee was wrong. We have the benefit of a second look, and if the referee had seen that, he would surely have pointed to the spot. Instead, it's a corner. Hussain with a huge leap beyond the far post and solid contact as well. And almost remedying here the injustice a moment or two ago. Liverpool's 3 away matches on the trot, draws at Aston Villa, then at Luton, and then the 3-goal second-half romp at the baseball ground on Saturday, when Beardsley was in exceptional form in particular. Gillespie, Nicol, Whelan joins in. And Palace defenders looking at each other to say who should be marking there. Burrows. It's great individual talent harnessed in a team pattern, and that's an irresistible combination. It's been the essence for Liverpool down the years. Hussain, even with his experience, he must realise how fortunate he's been to be given the opportunity to play in a Liverpool side like this. Gillespie harassed unfairly by Thomas. Whelan's free kick, and O'Reilly backheading it. Gary O'Reilly, who began his career with Tottenham. It'll come for Nicol, and the connection was right off the meat. But the power just carried the volley on and over the bar, and it dipped only when it got into the crowd. McGoldrick. Well, all credit to Eddie McGoldrick's ambition there. He was a good 25 yards out. It wasn't an easy ball to take. And he had a crack with the left foot that had Grobbelaar raising an arm for a moment. Palace, you'll remember, came through the playoffs in truly dramatic fashion, having been 3-1 down from the first leg away to Blackburn Rovers. They took it into extra time at Selhurst Park. And Ian Wright, with 2 goals in a 3-0 win, brought promotion and great scenes of joy. Part of the thrill of promotion is to have the privilege to take on the best, even if that can be somewhat painful. Palace have stuck to their guns though, after losing 2 goals in 16 minutes. Wright is their biggest gun. And Liverpool don't reveal too much of their scouting plans publicly, but if they are interested in Ian Wright, they'll be keeping a very close watch on how he performs in these circumstances. I can remember Paul Walsh playing marvellously in a 6-0 defeat when he was with Luton Town here at Anfield, which was a prelude to Walsh being signed. On that day, if memory serves me right, Ian Rush got 5, but he hasn't scored yet past Perry Suckling. Flicked on by Bright to Wright. That's the combination that's worked well for Palace in recent seasons, but Burrows was alive to it. And now it's Rush who's penalised. I just wonder what the departure of John Aldridge, given that that deal goes through with Real Sociedad, what it will mean to Ian Rush, who kind of found it easy with Aldridge on the bench or stealing the limelight. The sense of competition really built up amongst the media and of course amongst the fans as well. Both players very popular in the dressing room, I should stress. Hansen's header. McGoldrick couldn't make anything of it. Barnes stepped in. Now Beardsley. McMahon just had to check for a second to avoid running offside. Nicol, another of those curlers, aimed for the far corner. When you look around the Liverpool side and you think that Steve Nicol has a First Division hat-trick to his name, so too does Gary Gillespie. So outside the usual goal scorers, there's danger from every quarter. But Pemberton doing very well to take on Liverpool almost single-handedly then. But he's out of position now, the right back. Beardsley. Barnes has gone into the centre. Whelan. And Crystal Palace getting terrific support from their travelling band, even though they're 2-0 down. Barnes. Oh, and here's Beardsley, surely a third here. Rush helps himself to it. Right on half-time. Palace had been battling conspicuously well, having lost 2 goals in 16 minutes, and would have been pleased to have maintained the status quo to the half-time whistle, but it's 3 now, And it all opened up yet again deep in that Palace penalty area, with Beardsley playing a major role and Rush applying the finishing touch. There is the half-time whistle. It's been an exhilarating 45 minutes for the Liverpool fans and indeed for their players. It's been a learning process for Crystal Palace, but they've kept their heads up. Liverpool attacked the Cop End in the second half. And they played here with a relish, as if to say, we're glad to be back on home territory after some 3.5 weeks away. Whelan. Still Ronnie Whelan. Andy Gray just able to hold him up and prevent the shot coming in. But for how long? Well, the flag's up now against Beardsley. Wright. Hussein there before Wright. Barnes was trying a trick in his own half of the field, which perhaps won't please the Liverpool management when he lost possession. And now we're at risk of losing the ball. It's not quite like baseball when it's the custom in the United States, if a ball's hit into the crowd, the fan who catches it keeps it. Football clubs can't quite afford to be so magnanimous. Right, dispossessed by McMahon. Gray, in his second spell now, of course, with Crystal Palace, re-signed at the start of this season. Hansen. Liverpool still most experts tip to win back the championship. They will go top if they win tonight. There can't be too much doubt about that now. And it still remains astonishing, the events here at the end of May, when Arsenal came in circumstances that seemed only to favour a Liverpool championship. Gray with the throw. Grobbelaar's got to come and used just one fist, the right, but cleared the penalty area with the punch. Burke. Hounded by McMahon. Gray. Did well to deny Beardsley's tackle. And Pemberton stepped timely fashion as well for Crystal Palace. Stopped by Barnes. McGoldrick. Well, Crystal Palace, who've had 6 seasons in the First Division in the past, were relegated in 1981 and have played here with a certain amount of character and continue to try to attack Liverpool whenever they can. Gillespie goes again for the return from Beardsley, and O'Reilly had to boot it behind with Gary Gillespie making the extra man in that attack. It's Beardsley's corner, and from Barnes' flick the scorer is Gary Gillespie. Well, Liverpool have so much variety to their football. They don't need goals from set plays perhaps as often as most other clubs, but this was a rehearsed routine involving John Barnes and then Gillespie. 4-0. The fourth goal coming in the 56th minute. Gray. Played in by Pemberton. Headed down by Thomas. Collected by Wright. Palace have a throw. The one thing Liverpool do let you do is pass the ball, but you have to get some sort of possession first, and that's easier said than done. And Kenny Dalglish's team have really picked up the mood again in the second half. Barnes and Burrows. It went behind, to Suckling's consternation. Beardsley trots over to preside at another corner. As the Kop takes up the chant, we want 5. Pardew beaten to it by the sheer commitment of McMahon then. Pardew only in his 3rd season of league football at the age of 28, a late developer from the non-league ranks, as indeed was Wright, and he's away from Hansen. Hussein stood firm. Nicol having to deal with an awkwardly dropping ball and the presence of Thomas just behind him. But as usual, Liverpool have extricated themselves from their difficulties. And even with 4 goals banked, there's no slacking from the home team. Rush prepared to go and try and win possession. He's back in the groove now with a goal in 2 consecutive games after a slow start, and linking up with Beardsley. Peter Beardsley deserves to be amongst the scorers. It's taken him an hour to get one for himself, but his own display again has been of the very highest order. Marvellously constructed with Rush, and then fired into the top of the net. Well, this brings back memories of the 5-0 thrashing handed out to Nottingham Forest on a famous occasion at the back end of the season before last, which was almost a coaching clinic, a masterclass from Liverpool. And John Aldridge does some stretching exercises. Are they going to allow him a farewell appearance? And the Kop are calling for Aldridge. Beardsley, Barnes. Broken up by the energetic Pemberton when he played at places like Rochdale and Crewe, as Pemberton has done. Even to come here and be thrashed must be a memorable experience, and it's a thrashing now for Crystal Palace. And still so much time left, and Rush in behind Gary O'Reilly. Rush goes down. No penalty. Certainly O'Reilly got some contact with the ball. Every part is in working order for Liverpool, and the machine is functioning so smoothly. Pardew. Wright, with Mark Bright making a run into the centre now. And he can be very effective in the air. Thomas came later on the scene. Burke. Another one knocked towards Bright. He finally gets the ball on the ground now and serves McGoldrick. Well, Barnes acting as a left back, but not stopping the cross getting in. Although the ball, in fact, had gone behind. Well, often when there's a gulf between the two sides, the match loses shape. The team that's winning can overindulge or simply become complacent. That hasn't been the case with Liverpool, and Crystal Palace, for their part, haven't accepted the inevitability of their lot here. But they're in danger of losing a sixth goal because the challenge on Whelan has led to a penalty. Now, there's activity down on the touchline as we look again at the replay. It was Hopkins on Whelan, and Liverpool, who are more concerned usually about success than sentiment, are sending Aldridge on. Beardsley has almost volunteered to go off. Now, will they let him take the penalty? Barnes has taken on that job, and Barnes says, on you go. So, Aldridge, what an entrance it will be if he puts this away. He has done, and it's the biggest cheer of the night. And that's a magnificent moment. It reflects great credit on Liverpool Football Club, on the teammates of the goal scorer. And I just wonder how nervous Aldridge was here. If he was, it didn't show. And that is his 50th goal in the league for Liverpool in his 2.5 years with the club. His 63rd in all, at better than one every 2 games. It could be the last. Oh, and Hussein on Pardew. A penalty for Crystal Palace. Yes, rightly given. And even now, Liverpool have the nerve to protest about it. Burrows had a word with the referee. So Thomas, 6-0 down. Oh, and it stays 6-0. It was too much for Crystal Palace's captain. And he drove it high over the bar. So Palace denied even a slender reward here. Well, what an eventful game. Bright, still looking, still hunting an opening that might stand Crystal Palace in good stead, if not tonight, on future occasions. But what must be going through Steve Coppell's mind? The only consolation is that it's a gap that so many others have struggled to bridge. And also that Crystal Palace haven't tried to kick their way to some sort of security in the second half. Champions is the cry, and it's a championship-style performance from Liverpool. Although at this early stage in the season, you can be sure that Kenny Dalglish won't entertain any questioning on that particular subject. Bright crosses, Grobbelaar is happy to be involved. And the ball thrown up to Aldridge, who was fouled. If the I's are dotted and the T's crossed on the new contract for John Aldridge to take him to Spain, I'm sure he'll go with a heavy heart. But he'll be 31 in 6 days' time. And that move will represent great business at marginally over £1 million, we're led to believe. Great business for Liverpool and indeed for Aldridge as well, particularly if he's only going to be used as a substitute or if the forward gets injured at Anfield. Barnes teasing O'Reilly. Burrows. Rush linking up with Gillespie. You might have noticed we've had 6 goals, 6 different scorers. Gary Gillespie, one of them. That's the way that Liverpool can spread it around. In recent memory, a 7-0 demolition of Tottenham here in the First Division in the early days of Ozzy Ardiles. And this performance will be put up at that level. And there is, of course, still time for more. It's almost as if it's been drummed into Liverpool that they lost the title to Arsenal because they scored fewer goals than the North London club, and that must never be allowed to happen again. McMahon facing the wrong way and in the end settling for that. Thomas. Burke trying to gain a yard at the throw, but Crystal Palace aren't going to be allowed to get away with anything here. Hussein, that's a weak one. Pardew for Bright, didn't quite come off. And Crystal Palace refused to be demoralised in desperately difficult circumstances. Bright heads it on towards Wright and Thomas. It fell between the two. Gray will get there first. And Barnes has to check back, but Andy Gray pushed it too far ahead of him. And then Liverpool look to knock the ball around once more. Connoisseurs of their game will have seen this so often. What has been extra special tonight is the way they've taken their chances, and Whelan fails on that occasion. Nicol. Well, Crystal Palace must know how General Custer felt. They aren't actually outnumbered, but it must feel that way. Burrows. Oh, good save from Gillespie by Suckling. Nothing wrong with the header, crisp and downwards. And so close to number 7. Hopkins tidied it up. Right, leaving McMahon in his wake, taking on Hussein and Hansen. And the fall in the end had too much theatre about it. Barnes. Oh, and that's beautifully played for Russ Suckling outside the area, was it? It's going to be a booking for the goalkeeper. Is it going to be another penalty for Liverpool or merely a free kick? I think the latter. Well, there's no sympathy here from the referee for the beleaguered Crystal Palace goalkeeper Perry Suckling. And yes, the challenge was a couple of feet outside. Jan Molby is being invited to the party in place of McMahon. Barnes sizes up the possibilities, and it goes over the wall, and it's a perfect free kick on a perfect night for Liverpool. Who needs penalties when you've got a player who can take free kicks of that quality? No reprieve for Suckling. no stopping it. 11 minutes left. And the tally rises. Liverpool 7, Crystal Palace 0. Now, Perry Suckling once told me that he saw, as a youngster, Tottenham get 9 against Bristol Rovers. Well, here he is, beaten 7 times himself. We're into the last 10 minutes, and Crystal Palace must be aching to hear the final whistle. But the Liverpool supporters and all lovers of football, even amongst the Crystal Palace fans really, must want it to go on and on. It's a delight to behold. Rush. Here goes Whelan. And for the record, with Barnes scoring, that's 7 different scorers. Well, it's Barnes in charge of another free kick. It doesn't go the direct route this time. Liverpool, though, are in possession of another corner. Here's Hussein! And it's 8 now. And yet another different scorer. I cannot recall that ever happening. Certainly not at this level of the game. Glenn Hussein gets his first goal in the English First Division with a textbook header. Eight minutes remain for Crystal Palace. That will seem like 8 hours. A hasty glance at the record books tells me that the greatest margin of victory in the First Division is 12 by West Brom and Nottingham Forest. But way back, 1892 and 1909. Maybe there's not time for the dozen here, but there might be for double figures. Hansen. Thomas, and it still won't go in for Palace. That was Mark Bright. Crystal Palace deserves something. I suppose maybe they'll regard a first-hand view of watching Liverpool's style and verve here is reward alone. Even hardened professionals might be able to sit back one day and accept that, but it is going to be hard to live with in the short term. Pemberton, and Grobbelaar's concentration is total. The angle was perfect, and the ball just settled in his midriff. Gray. Hussein scurrying across. Gray is past him, just Grobbelaar to beat! And he can't do that. Crystal Palace, in terrible defeat here, will have won new admirers for their attitude. Nicol. And again, linking up with Aldridge. It's been an honour to watch this. Nichols onside, but there was no one beyond the far post for Liverpool. Carried forward by McGoldrick. Mulby. Suckling, hoping, I think, that it would run into the area, but the curve on the pass took it away, and he had to just hack the ball out of play. There's such an air of celebration at Anfield tonight. The one thing that they can celebrate is going to the top of the table, and maybe a ninth. Yes! Nicol, who started it all way back in the 7th minute, has he rounded it off? He becomes the first player to get 2 goals on a night when the scoring has been shared so spectacularly. Liverpool 9. And Suckling wonders what's hit him. The anthem rings out at Anfield with complete justification. Thomas. Here's Wright. Gillespie the defender, and Wright is past him. Down from McGoldrick. Pardew, it wouldn't drop quite quickly enough for him. And he was in the best position, really, to test out Grobbelaar. Burke. Now McGoldrick. Few would begrudge Crystal Palace 1 goal. Even if it would spoil some of the symmetry of the scoreline. Mulby is the player who was hurt in that clash of heads. Mulby's okay. Right. And Crystal Palace, when they get the ball, continue to attack. Despite the fact that they're on the wrong end of a glory night for Liverpool Football Club. Hansen, one of the few outfield players who hasn't scored. Burrows. Just a question of the final whistle now, and whether there is time on the watch of Kieran Barrett for Liverpool to get double figures. There isn't, but 9 is more than enough for the players and for their supporters. And John Aldridge with that bond with the Kop. The Liverpool fan who's lived out the dreams of all the supporters as a Liverpool footballer. The shirt and the boots go into the Kop as a souvenir, and I'm sure Aldridge will be back here as a fan in the years to come. But what a spectacular finale. Scoring with a penalty with his first touch coming on as a substitute in a 9-0 win. A result tailor-made for those who set the headlines. Steve Coppell, he said this will haunt us for the rest of our lives, but he was full of admiration as well. If the goals happened a little too fast for you, let's recap on the scorers now. Steve Nicol started it off, and he was the only player to score twice on an amazing night. Just a measure of Liverpool's greatness that 8 different players contributed to the 9 goals, and that is also a record. Wherever it came from, Crystal Palace just didn't have the answer. In the context of Liverpool's history, in 1896 there was a 10-1 win over Rotherham, but in more modern times 11 against Strømsgodset in a European tie. Many of you will remember the 7 against Spurs in the First Division. York City also hit for 7 in 1985, and Fulham for 10 in the Milk Cup in 1986. And now it's 9-0 in the record books against Crystal Palace. A glorious night then, but it was also tinged with sadness. John Aldridge, who used to stand on the Kop, said his farewells in a most appropriate manner. Over 2.5 years, he's felt so deeply the triumphs and the tragedy of Liverpool Football Club. But what a way to go out. Liverpool 9, Crystal Palace 0.